Imagine living in a world where the one person you trust the most, the person who knows every intimate detail of your life, your fears, your hopes, could, at any moment, turn against you. Now, imagine that the world you both inhabit is one filled with danger, deception, and manipulation. The kind of world where loyalty is measured by life and death decisions and where every action, no matter how small, could lead to your downfall. This is the world of Lucas and Sophia, two of the most skilled and trusted operatives in their country's intelligence agency. But even in a world so accustomed to treachery, nothing could have prepared them for what lay ahead, a mission that would shake the very foundation of their marriage and force them to confront their darkest fears and desires. Lucas and Sophia had been together for over a decade, both partners in life and in work. Their bond was forged in the crucible of danger, tempered by years of navigating a shadowy world where trust was rare and betrayal was commonplace. Together, they had taken on missions that few others could handle, always operating with the precision and skill that came from years of experience. They knew each other better than anyone, and their connection was the one constant they could rely on in a world where nothing else seemed certain. But when they were assigned to a high-stakes mission, one that would have far-reaching consequences for both their country and their lives, the cracks in their bond began to show. The mission was simple on the surface: eliminate a political figure who posed a significant threat to national security. This individual had become a rallying point for dissent within the country, and the government had decided that the only way to deal with him was to remove him from the equation permanently. To most people, this would have been just another routine operation. To Lucas and Sophia, however, it was far from routine. The political figure they were tasked with eliminating was connected to a network of individuals who were more than just political enemies. They were powerful forces with deep connections that went beyond their country's borders. Lucas began to sense that there was more at play here than just national security. And Sophia, usually unshakable in her conviction, began to act strangely more withdrawn, more secretive. The deeper they dug into the mission, the more they began to unravel. It wasn't long before Lucas realized that they were being kept in the dark about critical details. As they conducted surveillance and gathered intelligence, it became increasingly clear that their target was not just an enemy of the state but a pawn in a much larger game. A game that Lucas and Sophia were caught in without even realizing it. Sophia, ever the professional, tried to assure Lucas that this was just another mission, another assignment where the ends justified the means. But Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. As the days passed, the tension between the two of them grew, not just because of the mission but because of something else, something unspoken. They had always been able to communicate without words, their connection so deep that they didn't need to explain themselves to each other. But now there was silence, a silence filled with unasked questions and doubts that neither one dared to voice. Sophia's behavior grew more erratic. She would disappear for hours, only to return with no explanation. Lucas, increasingly uneasy, tried to confront her, but she brushed him off with the excuse that it was just the stress of the mission. But deep down he knew that the truth was far more complicated. His instincts told him that Sophia was hiding something a secret that had nothing to do with their mission. Was it possible that she was involved in something darker than he had imagined? Was she hiding her own agenda, or was she simply caught in the same web of lies and conspiracy that had ensnared him? As they moved closer to their target, the situation escalated. Their carefully laid plans began to unravel. They encountered other operatives, some who were supposed to be allies, others who were clearly enemies in disguise. Each encounter added to the confusion, and with every new twist in the story, the mission grew more complex. Lucas and Sophia began to realize that they weren't the only ones working towards this goal, and not everyone involved in the operation had the same loyalties. There were other factions at play, each with their own agenda, and Lucas and Sophia were merely pawns in a much larger game of power and manipulation. Lucas's suspicion grew. He began to wonder if he and Sophia were being used, not for the greater good, but as tools to further someone else's agenda. He started questioning their superiors, the very people who had given them their orders. Were they being manipulated into eliminating their target for reasons that had nothing to do with national security? Or had they been part of something far more insidious? The questions kept swirling in his mind, and with each passing day, it became more difficult to separate fact from fiction. Meanwhile, Sophia was fighting her own battle. She was increasingly torn between her duty as an operative and her love for Lucas. She knew the risks involved in their work, knew the price of loyalty and the sacrifices it demanded. But she also knew something that Lucas didn't. Her involvement in the mission was far deeper than he realized. Her past, the one she had fought so hard to leave behind, was catching up with her. And as much as she wanted to protect Lucas from the truth, she knew that the secrets she was hiding could destroy them both. The tension between the couple reached a boiling point when they discovered that the political figure they had been sent to eliminate was not just an enemy of the state, but a victim of a larger conspiracy that had been orchestrated by the very people who had given Lucas and Sophia their orders. The truth was shocking. Their mission wasn't about national security, it was about power, control, and political maneuvering at the highest levels. They had been sent to kill a man who was not a threat to the country, but to a group of elites who wanted to maintain their hold on power. At this moment, everything began to crumble. The trust that had once been the foundation of their relationship now seemed like a distant memory. Lucas felt betrayed not just by his government but by Sophia. The person he had trusted more than anyone else in the world had been hiding secrets from him, and those secrets had put them both in grave danger. He couldn't help but wonder if she had known all along what was really happening. Had she been playing him? Or was she simply as much of a victim as he was? As the mission came to its tragic conclusion, Lucas and Sophia were forced to make a decision that would change their lives forever. They could no longer trust their government and they could no longer trust each other. The lines between loyalty and betrayal had become too blurred. In the end, they were forced to confront their own darkness, the part of themselves that they had kept hidden for so long. The truth was that no one could be trusted in a world built on lies, not even each other. The climax of the story was not just about the political figure's fate, but about the choices Lucas and Sophia made in the face of betrayal. Would they complete their mission knowing the true cost? Would they save themselves by turning against each other, or would they stand together in the face of overwhelming odds? The final moments of their journey were marked by moral dilemmas and painful decisions, each one weighing heavier than the last. In the end, Lucas and Sophia were forced to reckon with the consequences of their choices not just for the mission, but for their marriage, their loyalty, and their souls. The story of Lucas and Sophia is a stark reminder that trust is not something to be taken lightly. In a world where secrets and lies are the currency of survival, loyalty becomes the rarest and most precious commodity. But loyalty, like trust, is fragile, and once broken, it is difficult to repair. In the end, the greatest betrayal isn't always from the enemy. Sometimes, the deepest cuts come from those closest to us. The true cost of survival is not just measured in lives lost, but in the emotional toll of navigating a world where nothing is as it seems. And in the face of betrayal, the hardest lesson to learn is that sometimes, the one you trust the most is the one who can hurt you the most. Please subscribe to this channel for more chilling and revealing stories.